Hours. I'm your host, Dr. Ramon Goings, founder of Done Dissertation, where we demystify the dissertation process so that doctoral students can write and defend a dissertation in 1 year or less. In today's video, we're going to talk all about how not having a plan is keeping you stuck in this process. So thank you all for folks who are just dropping in. Good to see everybody. Good to see you, Ron. Good to see you, Miss Lewis on Instagram. Other folks just dropping in. If you can, for me, before we get started, share this out with a colleague or two that you know needs help to get through this dissertation process. And today's episode of Office Hours is sponsored by our Design Your Done Dissertation event. On December 11th, we're hosting a 5-hour workshop with doctoral students with the purpose of helping you develop a plan to get through the dissertation process quickly. So if you're looking to get through, looking for 2023 to be your year, like 2022 didn't go as planned, but you want 2023 to be your year when you finish up the dissertation process and get your letters, you definitely need to join us at this event. We're going to help you work through your whole dissertation completion plan so that you put all the pieces in place so that you have the proper momentum heading into the new year. This is going to be a great event. I'm going to talk more about the event later, about what you should expect when you attend. But I want you all to definitely join us. So to grab your ticket, tickets are $49. To grab your ticket, visit www.designyourdissertation.com. And it's great. From this event, from last time that we had it, I had a couple students who were able to just hurry up and quickly finish their dissertation. Like, it's just magic what can happen when you put a plan in place and you're ready to implement it. But I want to talk a bit about, a lot of folks want to stay in ABD. And there's one reason why in particular that folks do that. And that's what I want to talk about today. And as always, let me know who you are in the comments so we can build community with one another. Whether you're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, wherever you're seeing this, definitely let me know. And shout out to folks who are joining in from the ABD to PhD group on Facebook. Sorry, I got to drink some tea today. I've been talking a lot. We did a professional development in our Velocity Group coaching program, and today's PD was all about developing a research agenda. So we worked through that a little while ago. So now just trying to get ready to join with you all today to really just talk about why you all, and if you're getting stuck right now, why you're not finishing. And it comes down to one particular variable, which we often don't think about. And if you could imagine, that variable is just not having a plan in place. Like, literally, it just makes no sense that you go through this dissertation journey. You had a plan when you first started, right? You had your coursework and everything went well with coursework. It was, you're ready to move forward in this process. And then you get to the courses, then all of a sudden you get to, working on your dissertation, and it's just almost like the structure leaves you. And because you don't have a plan in place, it's hard to recreate that structure that you had when you were taking classes. And so this is why the plan is so important. But a lot of us are missing out on having this plan, and it will keep you stuck in ABD. And I always just say, if you want to stay ABD and not finish, one, don't watch this video. So I'm going to give you strategies on how to get through that and get over that. But if you want to stay ABD, definitely go back to doing what you were doing. But if you want to change, you definitely need to stay tuned. We can talk more, and please do feel free to ask your question today. And shout out to Ron. He says finishing his 3rd year and is ready to be done. Facts, Ron. We're excited for you. And Ron's a former client of ours. Ron, where are you at with your defense for the proposal? Is that coming up here soon? I know you were rounding out, trying to finish it out by the year end. But it is good to be with everybody. So make sure that you do share this out. Ron, share this with some folks that you might know that get some value out of this. But what I want to do, right, when we think about staying where you are and staying stuck in ABD land, it is unfortunate, because what I found is that a lot of you all, when you come to us to seek help, you want a writing strategy, right? You want, like, how do I make sure that this gets past my chair? How does, making sure that I'm going to get, my document ready so I can defend my proposal. So we get a lot of folks that come in this frantic rush, right? And so some people may come like, oh my God, I got a defense coming up in 3 weeks. I need your help to help me prepare. And then we'll move forward with the dissertation after this. And what I found is that I can give you all the strategy. Like, literally, if you want to ask whatever writing question, you can ask it. I can give you the strategy. But if you don't have a plan to implement, the strategy is dead. There's no use to even, using it. And so this is something that a lot of you all, I really want you all to start considering, is like, you are so eager to get the strategy, the game, the play that you need to work on for your dissertation, but you forget about that you got to have a plan to implement anything that we give you. This is why we say planning comes first, and then you implement the strategy second. Because what I do know is that when you don't have a plan, particularly for the dissertation, right, you are just going to say, hey, my goal is just to keep writing. And then what ends up happening, you start writing aimlessly with no specific target, no target dates. You may say, I'm going to have chapter 3 done by next week. Like you've made arbitrary dates without even considering how fast or slow that you actually write. These are things you all got to consider when you're building out your plan to finish the dissertation process. And if anybody who's ever worked with us at Done Dissertation, they'll tell you like we're big on having a plan because now you can implement. And then also your plan where it becomes really key is that when things don't go according to how you thought they would, and you because you have a plan, now you have a place where you can start from and to reorganize, shift, and move things around within your plan. But a lot of you all are just kind of running through this process, just trying to wing it and hoping that you finish. And my thing is, right, most of you all, maybe some of you all getting a second doctorate, so much salute to you because I'm not doing another one for sure. But for those of you who are, this is your, getting your doctorate, this is your first time doing this. So how would it be that you would do something that you've never done before and not have a plan? I want that to sit in and settle with you for a second because it makes no sense. Like you all are engaging in a process that you have not done before, but you find that, hey, I'm just going to wing it and I'll figure it out as I go. That is a recipe for disaster. It's a recipe to be stuck for a very long time. We see over and over again folks stuck for 10 years, and it just saddens me when people don't have the plan to implement. And here's what I do know. Last night I was sending DMs to folks on LinkedIn. So if you got a LinkedIn DM from me yesterday, I did send it myself. I was looking through to check on you all. And some folks who have reached out to us, I look back at the DMs. There's some people who have reached out to me in 2020 to get help. And of course, I just click on their profile to see if they finished or not. And I would say majority of what I saw last night, people did not finish, and it didn't get help. It just makes no sense. But I know it was because partly the pandemic that threw everybody for a loop. So I get it. But now it's like you got to develop a plan because we know this thing is here to stay. You got to have a plan of attack and a plan to move forward. But a lot of us refuse to do so. And literally watching folks go through that experience yesterday, I mean, just seeing the dates, like, when we ran we ran a workshop back in April of 2022, and I see we invited people to that workshop, and folks didn't come, and they're still staying stuck. I make it make sense, y'all. You can't say that you want to finish your dissertation, but you're not willing to put the actions behind it. And part of that action is coming up with a plan that you can implement. This is really important and something that you all are not thinking about. And some of y'all think about it, then it's too late. And I just know if you continue to go around aimlessly trying to figure this thing out, you will be stuck. You will spend a lot of money in tuition. You won't get any help because what's going to happen is, your advisors have so many students. After a while, when they recognize that you're not going to put in any effort, they're not either. And I heard this today. I was listening to a podcast that I like, and this business coach had talked about, your goal when you're in business development programs is to be the best student and show up for yourself. Go to all the coaching calls, show up, do all the things, implement your strategy. I think the same thing applies to you all navigating the dissertation process. It's like you got to show up for yourself. And when you don't have a plan in place, you will show up for everyone and everything else than yourself. This is one thing I definitely do know. And I was looking back at one particular DM from a person I had reached out to months ago. They still hadn't finished, so I wanted to reconnect with them. And then I looked back at some things that they told me in the DM. It was very interesting. And they mentioned, right, they said, you know what, work has gotten very busy and I've just been prioritizing work. And right, there's seasons for these things, right? But one thing I know about work, it will always be there. The one thing I know about finishing your dissertation, it's done once you finish it. That's a difference. That work will always be there, but you finishing your dissertation will eliminate that off of your to-do list. Literally, it's gone forever. And you all could do all the other great things that you've been wanting to do with your degree. But a lot of you all would rather just prioritize other things than work on your dissertation. It's sad. It's sad because, again, work will be there. Promotions will be there. And here's the secret. The promotions get better with the doctorate. That's one thing I do know. And that was one piece of advice that one of my advisors, Dr. Warren Heyman, gave me. He was like, Ramon, I know you're moving up in the ladder in education. He said, don't take on that leadership job until you finish your doctorate. And that was the best piece of information and value I ever got out of professor career-wise, because literally that saved me a lot of headache because I had colleagues who moved up the ranks and some of them had still not finished. And it's not because that they don't have the skill set or ability like you all are very talented scholars, but you're not willing to put in the time. So you rather prioritize everybody else. But it starts with having a plan, because what I do know is that you're all very busy. Having a plan allows you to account for how busy you are in life. Like literally, I was just talking to, shout out to Dr. McKenna Lewis. She's an alum of our program. we were talking today about a publication that we're about to start working on. And I just remember her, working with her when she was, leading her school. And this idea that she just talked about having to be more selfish with her time and like prioritizing it. Now, as Dr. Lewis, that is done. She got a new promotion, actually had a new school. I mean, these things happen because you finished your dissertation. Like there's so much opportunity there. But again, at the root, it all starts with having a plan that you can implement. And real quick, if this is resonating, something's resonating with you, or you have a question, feel free to drop it in the comments. Again, we want to make sure that this is helpful and valuable for you all. And this particular episode is sponsored by our upcoming workshop called Design Your Done Dissertation. It's a 5-hour virtual event where we are going to help support you to create your dissertation completion plan so that you enter 2023 with the tools to finish quickly. So if you want to learn more about the event, make sure that you go to www.designyourdissertation.com. Tickets are $49. That's an investment in yourself to get this thing done. And this is what you all need to do. It's important to have a plan. And one thing I was thinking through, right? Renee and I were watching TV. I think it was last week or week before, and we went on this binge. I think it was like one Saturday or Sunday. And this is a show I like. I don't know if you've ever seen it, called Naked and Afraid. If y'all ever seen this show. So the premise kind of the show, right, is basically that they take two strangers. This show's wild. They take two strangers who feel like they can survive in the wilderness for usually it's like 14 to 21 days, depending on which version of the show you watch. They have a different time frame. So let's say 21 days. They have to be out in the wilderness, and they are literally naked. They have nothing on. They have nothing but a tool. I think usually they give you sometimes they give you a pot to boil water and a map to understand where you are. And I think they give you maybe one more tool, maybe a fire starter. I think those are the only 3 things you get. That show is wild. Just from a conceptual, I'd be watching that show, and I just can't imagine people be out there in that wilderness trying to figure it out. And the thing is that you don't know where they're going to drop you off. So some people, they put you in the Sahara Desert. Some folks, they put you in the like cold Arctic, like tundra type climates where it's like 40s and 50s and 30s at night. Some they put you in the blazing heat where you like just feet hurt and you get a sunburn. Like all these different, in some places they put you in a tropical environment. So in this show, right, all these people are competing to finish. It's like a competition against themselves, really. But here's the interesting thing. When those folks come together, so these two people, when they come together, they don't know each other at all. They literally meet each other naked with like a knapsack, and that's it. But when they meet each other, the first thing they do, they exchange pleasantries. They, talk about who they are, what they do. And then immediately the second thing they talk about is like, what's our plan to survive these next 21 days? And so I'm watching this show. I'm like, they get it. Like, in order to survive, they had to have a plan. And some of you all want to survive the doctoral journey, but you don't have a plan. So you're literally just walking out in the wilderness trying to figure it out and have no tools, no plan. And you're just hoping that maybe some food, and we'll take that analogy from Naked and Afraid, maybe some food will come your way. Whether you having a plan to, hey, I'm going to figure out a trap I can design to capture my food. Like, these are mindset shifts you got to have. And it starts with having a plan. But that show is wild, y'all. If you watch the show, please let me know in the comments. I'm not the only one. That show is crazy. And it's interesting, just a side note, like they do that show and then all they get at the end, they may get a cash reward. They don't really say, but then they have this phony, like it's called a PSR rating. It's like some random made up numeric rating that they get based on how long they last and what they did while they were out in the wild. It's bananas to me. I don't understand how somebody would go on that show, but it's very entertaining. But one thing I do know, them jokers had a plan. And the last one I saw, they figured out how to set up traps to get certain animals. Like, it's just amazing what folks can do when you have a plan. This is really important. And to give a second example, if folks don't watch this at TV, you might write sports, right? So for those of you all don't know, I played college basketball. And so as an athlete, one thing I always benefited from was from coaching. And if you watch any team sport, even individual sport like a tennis or a golf, you definitely know, one, that they have coaches that are supporting them, but then two, they always have some type of game plan. Like, we think about basketball for us, depending on what team we were playing, we had to have a different strategy or a different plan for that particular team. Like in my league, we had a university who all they did was shoot threes the whole game. They pressed you all game, full court press, and all they did was shoot threes the entire game. Like, literally a layup line, they went from half court and then pulled up to the 3-point line, and that's how they shot layups. Like, there was no layup. They were shooting threes the whole game. We knew when we had to play them, our game plan was, look, we just got to break the press and we'll have a layup because they want to give us 2 points to come back and shoot a 3 for 3 points. That was the game plan. Again, a lot of you all are going through this dissertation process, one, not willing to get a coach or help, and then at the minimum, two, not even having a plan of attack. And again, a lot of you all are trying to make it through, and then you get frustrated when the process doesn't go according to plan, because literally you winging it, because it's something you don't know and don't understand completely about all the ins and outs of this thing. Your plan, what you thought was a plan, is really just like a to-do maybe for tomorrow. And then that list shrivels, because once things don't go according to how you envision it in your head, you have no recourse. And now you're playing and being reactive to situations instead of just planning for it and then being a little more proactive. That's where a lot of our clients, that's why we're able to get clients out so fast, because they start to become very proactive in the dissertation process rather than be reactive. And again, that's a whole different mindset that folks got to consider. And again, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. This episode is sponsored by the Done Dissertation, Design Your Done Dissertation event happening on December 11th. This 5-hour virtual event has the goal to help you, the doctoral student, develop your dissertation completion plan that you can take into 2023 to finish your dissertation. This event is going to be, you definitely don't want to miss it, y'all. This is something that really will transform you if you take the time and just implement the strategies that we are going to teach you during the event. It's going to be phenomenal. I mean, I'm just tired of y'all out here winging this thing. We want to give you all the plan. And with that plan, of course, is a strategy around writing and all those things. But you got to have a plan. You got to map this out. A lot of y'all say, I'm going to finish and I'm going to graduate in May of 2023. But if I ask you, hey, that's great, but when is your document due to the graduate school, let's say, for instance, or the university, in order for you to defend, or for you to graduate? And a lot of folks don't know. So while you say, I'm going to graduate in May, you really started to figure out, oh, shoot, I really need to have my dissertation done by, let's say, March the 15th, because I know it's going to be due by April 1st to the university. So I need a little window in there to make sure if there's anything goes wrong, that I have a 2-week gap that I can make changes. These are the things you all got to start considering as you are moving along in this journey. And sometimes you don't think about it too fast, but this is why we're having this event on December 11th. We want to walk you through our unique system on how you can develop your dissertation completion plan to finish this year. If you want to grab your ticket, visit www.designyourdissertation.com. Make sure you grab your ticket. And this is great for folks who have been interested in learning more about how to work with us, learn more about our style. It's going to be a great event. And so just to recap, so you understand how the event will be structured, so you know kind of what you're getting into. The first thing what we want to do is that we want to help you and develop your mindset to finish your dissertation. This is such a big piece. It's something that's often, it's not taught in your doc program. I know that for certain. I work with and consult with doctoral programs across the country, and a lot do not teach you and talk to you about the mindset piece that is required to finish the dissertation process. Because if you know anything about the work that I do, I always say that getting through the dissertation is a mental act. It's not necessarily a physical one. It's not even about writing. It's about literally transforming who you are right now into someone completely different on the other side. And I always say this, if you go into this process thinking one thing and showing up as one person, you'll be completely different when you finish. And now looking back, it'll just transform my life in many, many different ways about how I view things, how I think about research, how I think about data, all these things. It transforms you. But a lot of you all don't do that because you haven't taken the time to let the mindset piece really connect and shift you. And so the first part, we're going to talk about the mindset to finishing your dissertation in 1 year or less. Like literally, because we want people to finish quickly, it's a particular mindset our clients who finish quickly have. And we want to teach that to you so that you can adopt it. As soon as you adopt it, or for our folks who adopt the mindset, they finish. It's like a something that just fires off in them. They're like, oh, wait a minute, I got this thing down. I can finish, and I can finish quickly. And I think this is really important. Thanks, Nate, thanks for dropping in on Instagram. If you have any questions, Nate, let us know in the comments. I'd be happy to address them. But yeah, the first part of the workshop, we are going to talk all things mindset because that's really important. And again, I will give an analogy like, a lot of you all go into this new year, or even you came into 2022, let's say with weight loss goals or something that requires you to work out, right? And what happened with a lot of folks, and Jim's noticed why they market to you like this, that they know that, past January, most of the folks will fall off, not because they don't have the ability, not because they don't want it enough, but it's because they didn't have a plan to like implement the strategies once life got in the way. And this happens a lot. I see it all the time when people talk about, going to the gym and those types of things. Even in my own journey, sometimes I'm on it and then sometimes I'm not. And it's just this thing because life gets in the way. And so I succumb to it as well. But it all starts with having a plan. Like when I have a plan to say, all right, I'm going to work out these 2 days per week or 3 days per week, I know what I'm going to do and I make sure I carve out the time to do it. But what I find is that, again, when life gets hard, folks tend to go to what they like and tend to go to things that bring them instant gratification. And oftentimes that is not the dissertation. Shout out to Asia. Good to see you on. And is it Jesus? I think if I'm reading this right. Good to see you all on Instagram. And so what I know for a lot of folks is that you go and you become hyper-focused at work. It's not out of the ordinary for people when they're writing this dissertation to get a number of promotions at work, because you take that energy that you need to put on your dissertation and you put it into your work. And without a doubt, because you put your energy into work, it blossomed. But a lot of y'all don't want to do the same thing for your dissertation, and it's holding you all back from finishing the process. And this is something that you all got to consider. And so that's why mindset is going to be important, number one, because when plans go rough, our mindset is really going to dictate how we respond. And then second, we're going to then talk about and just strategize your roadmap around the writing, like thinking through like, what's the reality of me actually writing these chapters and completing this dissertation very quickly? It's not uncommon for our clients who are like past proposal defense to come work with us, and in 4 months they're finished. But you got to plan for that. And our clients come in and they create a strategy and a plan, and we help them implement their plan and shift it when they need to shift it. But again, it starts with, we're going to help you kind of build out your roadmap to writing all these chapters. Like, it doesn't happen itself. You got to plan for it. And then the part that we never can control, that you only have control over, is that you have to implement and execute the plan. And then from there, in our third hour, we're going to talk about how to build out your, dissertation completion team. So it's not just a matter of you finishing this process. It's going to be all on you. You need to have a support system around you to help you finish this thing. The doctorate is not a lonely process. It doesn't have to be. A lot of us get into these doc programs thinking that it's lonely, but what you will learn at our event, Design Your Done Dissertation, is that this process is not lonely. But we want to give you all and have you think about right now, who is the team, the core team that you're going to have to help you finish out the dissertation journey. You got to have a team. A lot of you all been trying to lone wolf this thing, wonder why you're not getting through, and you got to have a team. And then what we're going to do is, for those who, when you buy your ticket, what will happen is you'll get an email from us and a text, and it will ask you if you want to have on-the-spot coaching during the event. So we'll actually, myself and my coach, Dr. Varela, who works for Done Dissertation, we will actually chat with you about your unique situation related to your dissertation to provide value to you in particular, and then also to the community of folks that will be in the virtual space with us. So you have opportunity to get on-the-spot coaching and get that strategy, right? So a lot of you all do want the strategy. And during the coaching, we want to give you all the strategy. We want to give you the game, because we know if you come to the workshop, you're going to get your plan in place, and then we want to give you a strategy to implement. And then lastly, at the event, what we're going to do is have current and former clients that you're going to be able to meet to talk about their own journey and talk about how having a plan helped them speed up their process. And because I do this because I want you all to see people who have done it, who have busy lives like you all, who are navigating families, who are doing all these things to get done with this journey. And it can get done. It's just a matter of being strategic. So I want to provide you and give you access to past and former, current and former clients who have done this work and who have implemented the strategy and know what it takes to build out a completion plan. And shout out to Dr. Janet. Good to see you. This is why you all need to be at this event, y'all. It's phenomenal. Like, folks who have been here in the past, they know what time it is. Like, they've gotten a lot of value. Folks have like been on the call, been working on stuff, and literally have finished their dissertations. Like, we've really helped a lot of people get the momentum. Because here's what I know. A lot of you all, if you still stay stuck, I just hate to have to send these DMs next year in 2023. And then I look back in the DM and I see, oh man, I reached out to them in 2022 and they still took no action. 2021, they still took no action. They're still not done. It makes no sense when you can invest in yourself, get the support that you need, and hit 2023 with off the ground running. Like, get the support that you need, hit this thing running, and really build the momentum so that you can finish this coming up year. So this dissertation, Design Your Done Dissertation event is for folks, it's geared towards folks who are getting ready to write their dissertation, this coming up in January, let's say, and for folks who are currently writing their dissertation and stuck, or currently writing their dissertation, just need a little momentum shift to get through the process. And so I think a lot of folks will get a lot of value from coming to the event. So definitely grab your ticket at designyourdissertation.com. Tickets are only $49. Get a lot of value, 5 hours that we're really going to spend together to really navigate this process. And so if you have questions, let me know in the comments. My comments are not popping up on my screen for some reason. So I'm going to look around on different platforms, but just let me know and I'll start chatting through the comments. And on Instagram, Asia says, I need just to figure out my themes and I'm ready to hit the next phase and get done in 2 months. That's what's up. Congratulations, Asia. Yeah, that's part of that, Asia, is going to be dictated on your methodology, and then looking at your data and seeing like, how do I best answer my research question? So that's at the end of the day, when you're doing data analysis and trying to develop, what do I have here? It's always at the forefront. It's like, what are my research questions, and what from this data helps me to answer my research questions? That will be your guidance. So your research questions will help guide you, as well as your theoretical framework will help you kind of sift through all of the data. Oh, future Dr. Shepard says, I can't wait to attend the event. Perfect. We can't wait to have you. Thank you so much for grabbing a ticket to the event. We definitely want to give you the strategy, give you the game. Make sure that you, future Dr. Shepard, make sure that you apply to get the hot seat coaching if you haven't already. Just so you can get something individualized towards something in particular, a question that you might have about your unique journey right now. But thank you so much for grabbing a ticket to the event, and definitely send it out to some of your colleagues, some of your friends in your doc program. Don't be a lone wolf on this. Send it out to your friends, because they probably need help too as they're navigating their doctoral program. But yeah, Asia, congrats on collecting all your data. That's a big piece. That's like now the process becomes on you. Now you can turn this thing around, and just, you really got to think through, what's the data that you have. You probably have a lot of data too. So part of it is really giving yourself the space to like sit with your data for a second and really like look at what you have. Like, don't rush through it. Like, really think about your research questions, your theoretical framework, which your framework was very intricate that you created. So really think through that as you're looking through your data. That will be really, really important. Are there any questions? I'm just going around to check on LinkedIn because comments are not popping up today. So love to have any questions that you all might have. Future Dr. Shepard, do you have any questions about your own journey, about your plan, about things that you're trying to put together right now? And shout out to the folks on Instagram. I can't see names, so whoever's been on, Asia, thank you so much. I'm not sure, Dr. Janet, if you're still on. Hey, Zeus. I'm trying to think who else has been on here. Ron, thank you all so much. Asia says too much data. Yeah, that is always an issue. It's too much data. But it's fun, right? This is the time like you get to experiment, and particularly with qualitative research, that be creative. Like, you want to be creative already, Asia. Like, that's your thing, right? And so really look at your data and like, what is it saying, and then how can I put it together to craft a story that helps me answer my research question. That's, again, always what I'm thinking about. That's my North Star, is like, what are my research questions? Because at the end of the day, you're trying to answer your research questions. I see a lot of folks creating themes just for theme's sake in qualitative research, but it's like, no, the theme should help. If you're doing that route, that's not the only way to do qualitative research, but you happen to do a thematic analysis, it needs to tie back to your actual framework. It needs to tie back to your actual research questions. Lady said, I don't know if it's fun, but I'm just ready to be done. I get it. You'll look back now and be like, man, I actually like what I did there. For me, I just loved hearing the stories, man. Like, my dissertation, when I interviewed, I thought I was going to interview like, 18 to 22-year-old Black male college students. And then, I get a man named Raheem in my study who was a father of 15. His oldest son was a heavyweight champion of the world. And he was just going back to school because he had made so much money in construction. He wanted to go back to be able to teach people construction. It was just fascinating. Like, the stories were just so fascinating that you just couldn't imagine it. And so that was the fun part for me, is like learning stories. And I think for you, Asia, doing autoethnography, actually learning about your own experience, I think is probably a unique thing, seeing it from other people's perspectives. Any other questions? Just checking real quick. But we're proud of you, Asia, because you came through, working with us, got your proposal defended as you were supposed to do in the 4 months. So you did your thing. So we should definitely be getting the email sometime next semester, Asia. Don't forget about me now. Send me an email to that final defense, because that's the fun part. I love to come to y'all's defenses to see y'all flourish in y'all's in this environment, do things y'all plan to do. I got to see the journey. Now I get to see the end result of when y'all finish. So definitely keep us in the loop on when you have a defense scheduled and ready. Other questions? I'll stay on for a couple more minutes if folks have any questions. If you're on Instagram, you want to pop up and ask your question live. That way we can do so. I'll end this live in here in a second. Yes, please do invite us. And that goes for you too, Ron. If your university allows open defenses for your proposal. All right. If there are no other questions, or if nobody wants to jump on Instagram and ask your question, I will jump off for the evening. But again, make sure that you attend Design Your Done Dissertation, happening on December the 11th. You don't want to miss this 5-hour workshop to help you get the strategy you need to implement your dissertation plan for 2023. There's no need to go in another year trying to get this thing done when you can get the strategy and support to finish right now. So what I want you all to do is go to www.designyourdissertation.com, grab your ticket. If you can't find a link, shoot me a DM. I'll send it to you. We want to make sure you all have the support that you need to get through. And next year, we're going to be implementing some other workshops too. So if you haven't been involved with us yet, you might want to start rocking with us, because we got some great things happening in 2023 that we're so excited to share with you all. But we first want to help you get your plan done at Design Your Done Dissertation on December 11th. Go to www.designyourdissertation.com to grab your ticket. And I see Ron says playing the rewrite/reorg game with the proposal is no fun without a plan. Yeah, it is, man. Yeah, you gotta have a plan. Folks will move things around. Sometimes it's about maybe just taking what you already have and just moving it in different places. Like, hopefully it's not based on what we saw in your work. I don't think you have should be anything major. It might just be moving things around. And faculty always have different perspectives on things. This is why we teach in our program how to respond to feedback in a way that keeps down all the back and forth with faculty. All right, y'all. Well, I hope to see y'all next week on another episode of Done Dissertation Office Hours. Make sure you grab your ticket to Design Your Dissertation, Done Dissertation, at www.designyourdissertation.com. And until next week, I hope you all have a blessed week. Take care and God bless. See y'all.